Welcome to the show radio. And now, here is your host, Andrew Alliance.
What's up, guys? Thanks for downloading episode 324 of the show radio. My name is Andrew, and this is your source for tech, gaming, and entertainment news. Head over to theshowradio.info. Once again, that's theshowradio.info. And check out my past shows. While you're there, subscribe and tell a friend about the show. The show's on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. And definitely tell a friend about the show. This particular episode is going to be focusing on the ASTRO Gaming A50 headset, their flagship headset. Also going to have an interview with James Lang from ASTRO Gaming. And then right after that, I'm actually going to do the review of the headset right here on this particular episode 324. So before we get into that, let's do the sponsors. Thank you, my sponsors. As always, this podcast is brought to you by ProXPN. ProXPN is a VPN service that secures your internet connection against eavesdropping, hides your location, and allows you to access your favorite sites no matter where you live or travel to. With it, no one can see the websites you visit or track your online activity. Check out theshowradio.info/ProXPN and use the promo code SHORAM for 20% off of the lifetime of your account. This podcast is also brought to you by Audible.com. Audible has over 180,000 plus audiobooks to choose from. Get your first audiobook free with a 30-day trial. Check out theshowradio.info/audiobook for your 30-day trial. So a couple of things in the news. I definitely want to touch on Destiny stuff while I'm thinking about it. I think this week is the Monte Carlo for that. Also, Iron Banner is going on right now. And the Clever Dragon is probably the best PvP weapon right now. It is a pulse rifle. If you get it as a drop, great. If you buy the actual vendor drop, you definitely consider doing that because it is absolutely an amazing weapon. So definitely wanted to touch on that. I did see a patch also that came out, a hotfix, I believe that came out on November 8th. For Destiny, which is not even in my notes, but definitely wanted to mention it at the top because I was thinking about it. So life hacks and entertainment news. Multiple device access is now free for LastPass. Tim Miller has signed on to produce Sony Pictures live-action CG animated hybrid Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So I'm definitely excited about that because I'm a Sonic fan. Steam adds PlayStation 4 controller support and its beta update. 20th Century Fox has plans to do a Deadpool 3, and I still need to actually watch Deadpool to its entirety. I don't think I've done that, but I definitely want to do that. Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill director Quentin Tarantino announced that he will indeed retire after making his 10th film, so definitely look into that. Also, 101 of the best free software for the Mac. I'm also going to have that in the show notes, and that's pretty much what's going on with life hacks and entertainment news. Next thing I have here is some Sony financials. 3.9 million PlayStation 4 consoles were shipped between the start of July and end of September, taking total up to 47.4 million PlayStation 4s shipped, which is a lot. PlayStation 4 passed the 40 million worldwide sales milestone in May. That is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so just a couple of things there. PlayStation Pro is out. I'm not trying to get it right now. Because the 4K, situation is not something that I'm pursuing at this time. I'm definitely interested in it. I recently reviewed a 55-inch TCL Roku TV, which was absolutely amazing. So I'm excited for 4K, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be moving into the PlayStation Pro thing right now. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. If you have the money and you're ready to do that move, I definitely consider to do that for yourself. And what I did notice, or what I've been reading about the PlayStation Pro, is in terms of the branding. The branding it looks very similar to the current PlayStation before the Pro. And as far as like the OS on screen, it's pretty much very similar. So they're trying to keep everything in the family and not try to make a great distinction between the PlayStation Pro and the standard PlayStation. But you are already aware that the specs are beefier on the PlayStation Pro than they are on the current PlayStation that I have. So stuff like that. So outside of that, that's pretty much my thoughts on the PlayStation Pro. If you want it, go get it. If you don't want it, don't get it. If you want to wait until you can get it, and then you can go from there. Take-Two Interactive revealed Grand Theft Auto 5 has now sold 70 million copies since its release. Mafia 3 sold in or shipped to stores. 4.5 million copies in its first week on the market, making it the fastest selling game in the history of 2K games, which is absolutely amazing. So from what I understand, the buddies over at SpawnOn.me did some Mafia 3 episodes. I think they have a part 1, part 2 over there. So definitely check them out. Give them some love. SpawnOn.me. And check out their podcast there, which is pretty dope stuff over there. So if you haven't been on PlayStation.com as of recent, definitely consider checking it out. If you head to PlayStation.com and log into your PSN account, you'll see a new toolbar in the top right where you'll be able to view notifications, messages, friends, and your own mini profile. So definitely consider doing that. If you have not checked it out, definitely check it out. So a couple of things, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare. Definitely want to give a shout out to the team at Activision for sending that over for review. So I'm definitely going to do that. Also have a couple of, there's a couple of reviews I need to put up. You know, of course, I'm doing the Astro here, but there's a lot of headsets that I need to actually catch up on as far as reviewing to let you know exactly what's going on with them. If you not pick them up. But typically, I guess what I'm thinking about it now, most of the reviews that I do is stuff that I like. It may seem like it's a biased position. I don't know if it is or not, but typically the things that I see that I like on the onset, I ask for those things, which is why the reviews are usually positive. So if I have a gripe about a particular thing on a particular item, product, or whatever it is, you know, I'll mention what the gripe is in terms of how I use it in my world, if you will. I'll definitely touch on those things, and that's pretty much how I go about reviewing things. I look at stuff, I go to events, and if I see something I like, I ask for a review, and if they do send it, then from there, I'm talking about something I already like to some degree, and that's how they end up being reviewed on the show radio. So just wanted to mention that if you wanted to know what my review philosophy is, that's what it is. So definitely want to shout out to Activision for sending that over. And also definitely want to shout out to Astro. If I hope I don't forget mentioning it, but I definitely want to shout out to Astro for sending me the PlayStation 4 version of the Astro A50. So that's what's going on there. Random thoughts. Want to get that out. So Gran Turismo creator Kazunori Yamauchi has clarified that PlayStation VR support for Gran Turismo Sport will be restricted to a dedicated VR mode baked into the game. So there was a Reddit thing going around for the next game for Lara Croft, and according to this, obviously in the rumor mill, it's going to be named Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and hopefully it is called that, and hopefully it is absolutely amazing, but we'll see more on that as we get more details. Twitter has reached a deal to stream, if you ever watch the Game Awards with Jeff Keighley, which is really cool. It's getting better and better. So Twitter has reached a deal to stream the Game Awards where they will be doing that on December 1st at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So definitely look into that. If you're watching Westworld, I haven't yet, but I know it was a spinoff of a movie. I think that came out in 1974, maybe. That may be wrong. I don't know. But Hideo Kojima is watching it, and he says that the theory surrounding the actual world design is something that he really likes. So that's pretty cool. Phil Spencer has explained that Microsoft does not plan on releasing incrementally upgraded consoles every 2 years, which is cool. So you won't have to spend $400 to $500 every 2 years unless you want to. That is up to you. So some of the games back in the days I used to play, Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury, and those kind of games from SNK team. SNK is actually going to go back to what made them awesome. You know, so they're going back to the I believe the slogans back in the day. So they're bringing those games back, and I see some releases coming back also to the market. So according to what I have here, one of the greatest games names and 90s is coming back, basically. So SNK Playmore announcing it's changing its name to SNK Corporation from December 1st. So we should be seeing some more I was going to say Destiny. Why is Destiny still on my mind? So we're still going to see a lot of those titles that made them, you know, King of Fighters, 94. I think that was the first one they introduced, maybe. And then 98 was one of my favorites, and I think 99. So all the King of Fighters are really dope. If you've never played them, definitely check them out. And it's awesome series. And also Samurai Showdown 2, which is probably my favorite Samurai Showdown of all time. And I still have that. I kind of have like a Neo Geo emulator somewhere on my first Xbox. I did keep that. So just thinking about Samurai Showdown 2, I used to go to the pizza store and drop some coins in there just to play that game. And Hanzo was one of my favorite characters, and Galford was dope too. But yeah, that it is what it is. So Mass Effect 2 and 3, Xbox now hosts Mass Effect 2 and 3 via backwards compatibility. And also PlayStation recently announced, we were talking about PlayStation Pro at the top. PlayStation recently announced 40 plus games enhanced for PlayStation Pro. And I think the list will be continually updating. They'll be what's going on? I'll just leave that in. They'll continue to update that list is what I'm trying to say. And as they continue to update that list, we'll know what the enhanced games will be and things like that. So there's a video that I saw on YouTube for Shenmue, because we know Shenmue is an amazing game. They're working on the next installment for Shenmue, but we don't have a remastered version of Shenmue, the first game. But this video shows I think it was like a 4K video showing how awesome the world is for Shenmue, and I'm gonna have that in the show notes. And also, it could be exciting to some if you're still playing this game. It may not be as exciting for others, but there's a character named Akuma that's actually coming to Street Fighter V, and that's supposed to be very, very exciting because Akuma is one of the most difficult characters to fight against and even defeat in Street Fighter. So he's actually coming to Street Fighter V, so that should be maybe that will resurrect the series a little bit. Because based on what I saw in terms of numbers and what they sold and stuff like that, and even the conversation surrounding the game, obviously the individuals who are playing the game on a regular basis, on a competitor level, very, very competitive level, high level, they're playing Street Fighter all the time. But for individuals who love the game, who buy it every time, even if they don't play it, like myself, I still love it, but I'm not playing it right now. But maybe they'll resurrect it for guys or gals, who love the game, who buy it every year or every time it comes out, but are not currently playing the game right now. So the state of Street Fighter V, I don't know, but Akuma is coming to the game, and maybe that'll make it a little bit more exciting as they continue to figure out what they're going to do with that series. And Street Fighter is still an awesome game. So that's what's going on there. Next up is the interview with James Lang, Technical Product Manager at ASTRO Gaming. And right after that, I will do the review for the headset. And that's it. So right now I'm with ASTRO Gaming. I'm hanging out with James Lang, Technical Product Manager at ASTRO. What is going on, man?
Nothing. What's going on with you?
Everything right now, because I'm hanging out with you and I'm looking at the ASTRO A50s for Xbox One as well as PlayStation, and I'm excited, man. So I just wanted to know, how did this come about, this vision to create this particular product?
Cool, yeah. So we came out with the A40 TRs last year with the Mixamp TR. That was a big step forward for us. We introduced kind of an all-digital platform, really stepped up our game on the audio side, made a bunch of improvements for mic clarity, and so we wanted to push that into a new wireless headset. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and said if we could design any wireless headset, what would we make? So we left kind of the iconic design of the A50 intact because it fits really well, it's light, it sounds great, the chassis works really well, and we wanted to make all the improvements that we could to it. So we introduced the base station, which allows you to charge, instantly pair, gives you your battery status indication, which is a feature that no one else is doing and has really kind of changed the game for me. When I'm home gaming, I know exactly how much battery life I have left. And then we pushed all the mic improvements and audio improvements that we made with TR into it. So it's the same driver, same microphone element, same microphone circuitry. So it's a really huge step up for us in terms of wireless performance.
Okay, so from what you've gathered, how long does it take to charge? Because I know you have, it's mentioned 15 hours battery life currently for the new device. So typically, how long does it take to charge?
Yeah, it's about a little over 4 hours. So we do that for kind of the health and longevity of the battery. The faster you charge it, the shorter the overall life of the battery will be.
Okay, cool. So for those who are new to ASTRO, completely, what would you say, just highlight the features for this particular, because this is your flagship headset. So just highlight the features for those individuals listening and they have no idea who ASTRO is and a little history if you can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we got our start in pro gaming, Halo tournaments about 10 years ago. They didn't have a good solution for chatting with your team and listening to game audio at the same time. You had to use two headsets. It was a mess. So Astro started by making the original mix amp, which can link together with other mix amps to create a private chat network, and then you can mix between your game audio and your voice audio. So we pushed that into the A50, so you can mix between your game and your chat. It has Dolby surround sound, 15 hours battery life. Like I said, it's just kind of the ultimate wireless headset.
So one of the questions I always wanted to ask you, in terms of how do you use Astro for yourself, right? So how does James use Astro like right now?
Yeah, so I have A50s at my desk at work. So I use them for Skype, use them for gaming, use them for just general music listening. I have that same set of A50s hooked up to the PlayStation that I have at my desk. That's one of the perks of working at Astro. So I use that for gaming and testing. And then at home, I've got 2 A50s linked up. There's a daisy chain pass-through on it. A optical pass-through. So you can hook 2 up side by side. So I have 2 hooked up to my Roku at home so I can watch movies. And if anyone wants to watch a movie with me, they can watch one with me.
Very cool. So touch on the software and also the mod kit. Is the mod kit necessary? And definitely touch on the software because I don't think we talked about that when I saw you at E3.
Right.
So we can touch on that.
Yeah, so the mod kit we introduced also with the A40 TR is the ability to swap out the ear cushions. They're magnetic. It's pretty slick. Hopefully you can have some video linked to them. So they're magnetic ear cushions with synthetic leather on them, and they really simply swap out. They snap into place, and you can swap out the headband. So they give you a little more noise isolation, a little richer bass response. They're definitely a deeper audio quality, which transitions into the Astro Command Center. So the Astro Command Center is our software suite that allows you to tweak all your EQ presets, your microphone settings, your stream port, which I'll discuss in a second, and just kind of general settings. So when you put the mod kit on, there's a preset library, and one of them is for the mod kit specifically. So it tones the bass down a little bit. It gives you a more round, mellow sound. It's not required, but it's just one of the presets that we include with the Command Center software. And so the Command Center will also send you firmware updates. It gives you your exact battery percentage. You can adjust all your microphone settings. I think one of the biggest ones people asked for with the old A50 was the ability to adjust their mic monitoring. So some people don't want to hear themselves ever. Some people want to hear themselves loud and clear so they're not screaming. So that's just a slider that you can adjust up and down. And then the other thing it opens up is the stream port. So also with A40, we introduced the digital stream port, which allows you to take all your audio that's coming into the base station and send it over a USB connection to your PC. So you can mix your optical, your aux in, your chat, and send it over USB to your PC.
Very cool.
For recording or whatever.
And the mod kit, not necessary in terms of, what do you... Yeah.
I prefer, it depends on what I'm doing. So for A40, I exclusively use a mod kit. I like the noise isolation, and I like the sound signature it provides. With A50, at the office, I use one because it's noisy. At home, I like to hear, like if my wife's talking to me or something, I like not being fully occluded, so I use the cloth. But yeah, it's definitely a really big step up in terms of comfort and audio quality and noise isolation.
Real quick on the button layouts on the actual headset. Any changes or, in terms of where we're touching, to grab certain buttons and things like that?
Yeah, so we maintained kind of the whole right ear cup. Mix is the same, volume's the same, EQ's the same. We wanted to make the power a switch instead of a button. It was previously a button. Sometimes people would shut it off by accident or whatever, so we wanted to make sure that was a switch. And we moved the Dolby button to the headset because that was something I think people, being across the room, if you wanted to watch something in stereo or listen to music, you had to walk across the room and shut it off. So it just made more sense to have it on the headset. But otherwise, it's identical in terms of buttons.
Very cool, very cool. So these 2 headsets, the one for the Xbox One as well as the PlayStation 4, is available now, and I'm really, really excited about that. Anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you that you wish I did ask you before we close?
I think one of the really cool features is that auto power off feature. So when you leave it on your desk, most headsets use audio cues to shut off, but if you're in a menu, the audio is still playing, so your headset never shuts off. So we put an accelerometer in the headset that knows your orientation. It knows if it's moving. And so when it's laid down flat on a desk, after about 20 seconds, it shuts itself off. There, it just went off and disconnects from the base station. And then all you have to do is pick it back up. It instantly powers on and reconnects.
Very cool, James. I'm definitely excited for the headset. I love Astro stuff, as you already know, and I thank you for your time today.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, so here's my review for the Astro 50, the 50, not the 40, the A50 headset, and it's definitely a dope headset, so shout outs to Astro for sending me this headset. First thing I will do in terms of the headset is I will talk about the spec stuff, which is how I usually do the reviews nowadays, and then the little things that, irk or quirk or bother me in regards to the product, how it fits into my lifestyle, different things like that, and then we will get to should you or shouldn't you. Okay, so I'll tell you right now, if you have $300 to spare and you're looking for an amazing headset and you don't have an amazing headset yet, you should consider the A50. You should consider it. It is their flagship headset. It is their wireless headset, and they're doing revisions that's making the headset better and better every time it releases. So I'll say that. So a couple of things. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and it is compatible for PC as well. I am going to be talking about the PlayStation 4 version of the headset, which is what I have here. So I'm going to read and kind of like expound on some of the things that I have here in front of me. A50 wireless headset with lithium-ion battery, Astro Wireless 5 gig base station, transmitter and charging stand. I like that because I don't have to buy a separate stand for it. It stands on its own because of the base station feature and new setup. I like that. Up to 15 hours of battery life. And I think that depends on how you use the headset because the accelerometer and the auto off feature. So the up to 15 batteries, if you spend 15 hours straight playing a game or whatever it is, then it's going to die on you. But if you take breaks in between, the game that you're playing, you're going to be okay in terms of managing the battery life for the headset because of the auto off feature. I think that feature is probably one of the dopest things that they introduced in this particular flagship headset, which is the Astro Gaming A50 headset. And let me continue with my notes here. So the next thing is just be aware and know that it has Dolby 7.1 surround sound. It also has the Astro Command Center software that allows the pros or me or you or live streamers to tune their input according to their liking. It also comes with the mod kit, the A50 mod kit, that allows users to add synthetic leather headband and ear cup cushions for improved noise cancellation and comfort. I tend to leave the standard cushions that come onto the headset. I like those. They just work for me, and they may not work for you, but they work for me. As far as like additional base stations, if you wanted to do something like that, so if I wanted to use this particular headset, the blue version, right, with my Xbox, I would need an Xbox base station for that, and that would fix and solve that particular problem. So you got the base station thing. So the VR users, the A50 will fit perfectly over the HTC Vive, the Oculus, and the PSVR. If that's your thing, definitely consider that. So here's a couple of things on the actual headset. So you have the Dolby on-off switch. It's more of a button. It's not a switch. So the Dolby button on and off is on there. Just press it. It makes a sound that it comes on, and then you press it again. It makes a sound that it comes off, which is pretty cool. Built-in mix amp, obviously, for this particular headset. Precision microphone with flip-up mute, or, bring it down to here, bring it up to not here, they won't hear you anymore. The EQ settings switch on the headset has 3 positions. Okay, so now on the base station, so let's talk about that for a second. So on the base station, you have the optical out, you have the optical in, you have the streaming port, which is cool. So now, so let's just talk about the streaming port real quick. So when I'm actually using the headset now, I have the headset plugged into my PlayStation as well as my TV. So if I have the TV on, I want to use one headset for everything. And right now it's the A50, so I can hear whatever's coming from the TV, or I can hear whatever's coming from the PlayStation 4. And that's the setup that I have right now. So the streaming port is cool. Also, sometimes when I want to catch up on certain podcasts that matter in my life, what I'll do is I'll plug in my phone to the streaming port, and I can listen to all the podcasts while I'm gaming. So I'm knocking two birds, with one stone, that kind of a thing. So I use it for that. That's how I use the streaming port. I'm sure there's other ways to use the streaming port, but that's how I'm using it right now. So the base station. Let's go back to what I was saying with the base station. The base station has the optical out. Base station has the optical in. It has the streaming port and the USB port. That's in the rear. Okay, so on the side of this particular base station, it has the PlayStation 4 PC switch. Okay, so if you want to use this particular thing for your PC, you just switch it to PC mode, and then you're good. And it also has a USB charging port on the side. Okay, so that's the stuff on the base station: optical out, optical in, streaming port, USB port in the rear, and then you have the PlayStation 4 to PC switch. I'm sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I'm sure it has an Xbox to PC switch on the Xbox version of the base station. I'm just assuming. Okay. And then also with this base station, you have the charging port on the side. So as I was saying before, the thing I really, really enjoy about this headset is if I'm playing, what am I playing right now? Usually Destiny, or if I'm watching TV or whatever the case might be, and I take off the headset and I put it on the table, okay, it's going to shut off the headset. All right. So if I'm fully charged, because it has 4 notches. So let's talk about that. So it has 4 notches as it fills up. Once it fills up to 4, and then it has the red light that blinks, I believe, when it's charging or something like that, or the white light blinks while it's charging. One of them blinks, right? Once it fully charges, I have 4 notches to go down to before it empties out, right? So if I take the headset off while I'm watching whatever, right now I'm watching Jessica Jones, trying to wrap that up, and I take it off, I put it on the table. So now the headset is off now. I don't have to worry about the battery draining for the headset, because prior to this particular feature on this headset, if I put it down, I have to make sure that I turn it off before I walk away from it. Now I don't have to really be concerned about that anymore. So for battery management, if you will, it's automatically, technically, if you will, managing the battery for me the way I'm using it, so I don't have to worry about draining out so quickly because I forgot to turn the headset off. So to me, that's one of the biggest improvements of this headset, being wireless, being, you have to charge it and stuff like that. I love that particular feature. Now, so one of the gripes that I have, okay, about this particular headset, I'm not necessarily going to end it on that note, but I definitely want to mention this. One of the gripes that I have in the headset is when I try to put it in the base station, I try to say that 5 times fast. When I try to put it in the base station, it doesn't always clip with the magnets right away. So what happens with that is I have to wiggle it a little bit depending on what's happening, because there's 2 prongs on the left side, and then there's 1 prong on the right side, and it only goes one way, to my understanding. Okay, so once I lay it in the base station, sometimes I have to wiggle it to actually, wiggle it just a little bit before it actually gets to the point where it says that it's charging the actual headset. So another thing I did notice with charging stuff is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Is whether the PlayStation is on actually, or whether it's on the save mode, the power saver mode for the PlayStation, it will still charge until it's done charging, and then the headset base station will automatically shut off. So if you automatically power off so I'll say this. I don't know about you shutting down the PlayStation completely, because I use mine on standby mode. So once I go on standby mode, it waits a couple of seconds or whatever, and then since the headset is plugged into the USB of the PlayStation, a couple of seconds later, it comes on and it continues the charging process till it fills up. Once it fills up, it shuts off, and then the next day or the next couple of hours, whatever it is, when I come back to the headset to take it off the base station, I'm ready to go with whatever I want to do with the headset. So overall, it looks great in terms of weight, balancing the headset. When I put it on, I don't feel like I'm really trying to balance the headset because it's heavy. So in terms of that, I think that they shed some weight off of the previous models Obviously, this one is the latest and greatest, but in terms of shedding some weight, I think they've stripped as much as they could to make it even a leaner A50 compared to the previous version of the headset. So I'll definitely say that. But overall, using it is great. I mean, it sounds great. The microphone is great. I turn it on, is great. The instructions coming out of the box is great. You just have to follow the instructions for it to work for you. And then outside of that, I think it is an awesome headset. So definitely shout outs to ASTRO Gaming. Definitely shout outs to James. And definitely shout outs to the entire team over there at ASTRO Gaming for continuing to keep me in the loop of the latest and greatest things that they're doing over there, which is awesome. So that is my review for the ASTRO Gaming A50 headset. I will have links for the show notes in the show notes for this particular headset. It's definitely a premium headset, so you're going to pay a premium price. So definitely look for that. So hopefully you enjoyed that particular review of the headset, and I love it. Any additional questions and comments, please feel free to hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter is Uriah, Uriyya. Definitely do that. Or you can just hit me up. Hit me up on the internet. I'm around usually. So that's pretty much what's going on there. So thank you again, Astro. And last but not least, closing remarks. The show is on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. Subscribe with your favorite podcatcher at theshowradio.info/listen. Once again, that's theshowradio.info/listen. And definitely thank you for tuning in. Thank you again for tuning in and listening to the show. And I will see you on the next one. Peace. And also, and the veterans, I don't want to forget this. So veterans, thank you so much for serving. However long you served, the fact that you're serving means a lot to me. I definitely have family and the services, obviously. And just thank you so much for the things that I enjoyed today because of you. And I do not take that lightly. So veterans, I salute you. God bless. Peace.
Life isn't just about passing on your genes. We can leave behind much more than just DNA. Through speech, music, literature, and movies, what we've seen, heard, felt, anger, joy, and sorrow. These are the things I will pass on. That's what I live for. We need to pass the torch and let our children read our messy and sad history by its light. We have all the magic of the digital age to do that with. The human race will probably come to an end sometime, and new species may rule over this planet. Earth may not be forever, but we still have the responsibility to leave what traces of life we can. Building the future and keeping the past alive are one and the same thing.
You're listening to The Show Radio. Visit our blog at theshowradio.info. Subscribe and rate us on iTunes at theshowradio.info/iTunes. theshowradio.info/iTunes.